Hello everyone and welcome to the first relegation best of 3 in the Intel Extreme Masters Season 2 finals. It is the Russian Undead Happy in yellow at the top of Secret Valley against the Dutch Orc player Grubby at the bottom in red, and this is going to be one best of 3 to determine which of these two players is going to move on into the top 4 of the tournament and which of them is going to drop out. Grubby qualified for this match, being the number 2 ranked player of Group A, and Happy of course has qualified, being the number 3 ranked player in Group B. And Happy is starting with a Fiend build, which, you know, generally was most of the time the opening choice by Undeads against Orc in this tournament, and he is going to stick with that. The Acolytes are going to be walled off with the second Ziggurat, which is going to be built, way before the Blade Master is going to be able to do all too much harassment here. But generally speaking, we've seen a couple of these games on Secret Valley already, and generally speaking, the very beginning has always been creeping heavy, with the Blade Masters most of the time starting here. Of course, the Undead with the DK and the first Fiend is going to start doing some creeping as well. So in the very early stages of this match, it's going to be up to Grubby to decide what the match is going to look like. Scout Pin is hanging across the map. For Happy, well, the first scout is going to be a skeleton at some point. But for the time being, he's not going to be able to take a look at the Orc's main base, but there's nothing too surprising happening there. Shop is coming, the Blade Master's out, the first Grunt is spawning as well. And yeah, Grubby is once again going to start with the Murloc camp down here. And Happy having his first Fiend spawn, second Fiend will be put into production right now. Is gonna go ahead and start the same camp here at first. Just to make sure not to get his ghouls ensnared by the Murloc Huntsman, but it looks like he's pulling the creeps properly here. Grubby with okay, the Cloak of Shadows, that's not the item he was hoping for, is heading out on the map already. Looks like he's just gonna go ahead and creep here for a little while until the shop finishes, so he can grab some heal salves and then head onto the map. Yeah, once again, this is a pattern that we've seen previously already, and actually Happy got one of his ghouls ensnared here. So lumber harvesting crippled for a little while there. It's gonna delay his tech perhaps by just a wee bit, but then again we're gonna have to keep an eye on the necropolis anyway, since generally speaking, the Undeads haven't been teching overly quickly in this tournament thus far. The next creep camp is going to be taken by Grubby. He's already going to be about level 2.5 once this finishes. Happy, of course, a little bit behind here, is going to try and catch up, going to try and at least get the level 2 safely, which by the looks of it we should be able to do, as Grubby is not going to be applying all too much pressure here anytime soon. Speaking of tech, Grubby has already started, about a third done. He's getting his third grunt at the moment, so not delaying his own tech here at all, which is also something we've seen previously already, but not in this game. Death Knight has reached level 2 right now, and we'll see where he's going to be heading next. Grubby right now is heading towards the middle of the map, and thus far in most of these Undead versus Orc matchups on Secret Valley, it's always been the first real struggle when the Undead was trying to go for one of the Goblin Merchants here, and the Orc was starting to harass. Happy, yeah, pulling the creeps here. The first Ogre Warrior might be going to Grubby though, as he's just turned around and started running at the most unfortunate timing for the Undead. So some experience gained for Grubby, dust immediately used to detect the Blade Master here. Next creep is going to Happy. At this point, Grubby, of course, he'd love to drain some mana of the DK. He'd love to kill a Fiend, of course, ideally, but I guess he'd already be satisfied if Happy's not gonna get anything done until Grubby's second hero spawns, until Grubby's first Raider spawn, first Walker spawn, if he goes for them, etc. So for the time being, he's just Happy dancing around here, trying to take as little damage on the Blade Master as possible. Happy, I thought, pulled the creeps here, but it looks like even though all of them are bloodlusted, none of them is really out for war. Again, he's pulling the creeps here. At least one of the trappers is now chasing after him, but more importantly, the Orc is chasing after him as well. He hasn't spent a single coil though, so the Death Knight has plenty of mana. The first Grunt is taking a bit of damage, but now the first Fiend is taking a lot of damage as well. But it looks like the first Grunt might actually be falling quickly here. Yeah, that's exactly what's happening. Grubby not putting that one back in time. Next Fiend should be coiled here in time. He's spreading a bit of damage on both of these Fiends, and Happy has used the dust here. Blade Master is once again revealed. He's a bit greedy here, not coiling either of the Fiends, but unless Grubby can really apply quite a bit of damage onto both of them, they shouldn't be in any serious trouble. And just as I said, with 2 quick backstabs here, Grubby's actually able to kill one of those Fiends while the coil was in the air. And the next Fiend is already in some trouble as well. Death Knight has to spend his second to last coil. Well, okay, there's soon going to be 2 more, as the mana regeneration of the Death Knight is still going strong, of course. But those last few seconds, Happy, perhaps a little bit overly greedy, have put Grubby into a decent position again. It's just okay, Grubby falling back. Let's just quickly take a look into the mains. Another Fiend is coming. Attack of Happy is about 2/3 done. Grubby is done with his tech, adding a TC second, a Beastry, and a War Mill. He would easily have the resources for a Spirit Lodge, but it looks like he's not going to be going for that. TC second is now out. It's going to be joining the party soon. Of course, right now at this instance, the TC is not providing the insane map control that the Shadow Hunter would with Hex, but it looks like Grubby has a bit of a more long-term plan in mind with his second hero choice here. And don't get me wrong, the Stomp together with some decent positioning and focus fire is already something that Happy is going to have to be very cautious about. Blade Master is coming in here. Heal Staff gets cancelled. He's not looking all too healthy. 6 Fiends again on the field for Happy, so it's not like he's really lacking damage output here. And for the time being, Grubby is not having the easiest time engaging here. The Skeleton's actually blocking the Death Knight at the moment, and he needs to make some room for his first hero to escape. Another Grunt has fallen though, and Happy is going to be able to escape here quite easily. And, well, actually he's staying close to his army. Stomp is going to be coming in again, but he's actually missing coil onto the Blade Master. And is Grubby going to be the one forced to teleport out? Yes. And now he's going to have to make sure, okay, he doesn't try to get in range here. Stays close to the Undead army with his TC and the 2 Grunts. Blade Master is healing up, regenerating mana as well, and snaring one of the Fiends. The Death Knight is really going to have to be careful, and he's finding a perfect item here. Great heal potion by Steel as well. And did you see the Fiend block here by Happy, making sure the TC was not getting anywhere close to the Ogre Magi to either, deal the last hit, steal the item, perhaps get a nicely timed Stomp in there to stop the Death Knight from trying to grab the item. So well done there by Happy. And this game is really looking well for him thus far. Dust used, but Blade Master wasn't revealed. He's got the 2 potions here, so as long as he's paying attention, I feel like Happy should be in a comfortable position here. Lich is now out. The Blade Master is trying to quickly steal the Ogre Magi. It looks like he may be getting cold feet here. Running away. TC starts doing some creeping on his own in the meantime. Grubby staying on tier 2. Only having Barracks and Beastry. So it's going to be a lot of very, not exactly well-teched units here. And is this a PN? No. So usually, with that strategy, the Orc would clearly try to go for a quick tier 2 expansion to basically, while the timing is right, while his Grunts and Raiders and perhaps level 3 TC is still strong and provides still great map control before Happy can take up to a large tier 3 army, to get the economy advantage in that period of time. But I'm not really sure if that's going to be so easy in this case, in this particular game. So Happy maybe, expecting something of that sort. Scouting here right now, sees that there's no expansion though. Blade Master is winning some time against this army, and perhaps that's quite important here, as the TC and the Grunts may be quite vulnerable with the creeps here. Tier 3 tech has just started now for Happy though, so he's not going to be up there anytime soon. But he's got a gigantic tier 2 army. And snare on the Death Knight. One more Grunt is falling. The TC is trying to outrun, but of course he can only go around the bottom here. Well, he can go around the top as well, but if he wants to escape, then he can only go around the bottom. Now with the Blade Master joining though, perhaps it's not the most not the greatest aim for Happy to fight against the Orc with a heal fountain in his back. So, okay, the undead player is backing off. And perhaps the game is going to go into a little bit more of a slower phase right now. Happy is approaching his own natural here. Or is he going to go for the Gnolls first? Looks like he may be going for the Gnolls first. Adding another Ziggurat. And I guess it makes sense, even though the TC wasn't insanely well leveled yet, with the unit composition that Grubby is striving for, and the early game which hasn't given the Orc any advantage. I guess it makes sense for Happy to just fall back and wait for his tier 3 to come through, for his orb, for a third hero possibly, etc, etc, as long as Grubby isn't forcing his hand with a potential expansion here. So first Coda added right now for Grubby, who's trying to steal the Ogre Lord, perhaps of course providing him with a great item. The Death Knight is close and there's no hex to stop him from coiling, and I don't see how Grubby should be able to get the last here actually. Grubby is getting the last hit here with some focus fire. Coil coming in a little bit too late, if I saw that correctly. Nova was coming in as well. Nothing of the Orc has died here, and Snare onto DC. Is he gonna be really able to force the Town Hall here? There are plenty of great items on this DK. Keep that in mind. He's using the greater Invo Potion. 15 seconds of invulnerability for him. Grubby using an Invo Potion as well. That must have been a small one though. And he keeps the surround on the DK, or does he? There's still the greater heal potion. Actually, the nuke is killing the TC here. And yeah, now Grubby's gonna have to retreat. At least the Death Knight was forced to use the big heal potion as well. But this is not the position that Grubby wants to find himself in at all. The Kodo is gonna be the next target here. Keep in mind, the Town Portal already had to be used earlier on. So this army, which is now, due to the lack of endurance aura, not exactly the most mobile, is not gonna have the easiest time getting out of this. Once again, Happy is scouting for the expansion, so yeah, he seems to be a little bit rattled about the lack of that. And yeah, now seeing that there's no expansion, looks like he feels confident just marching forward again. Fiend a little bit too far up front, has to be burrowed. Rest of the Orc army has to retreat. Grubby, of course, is gonna try to make the best out of this with the fountain in his bag, trying to focus the Death Knight a little bit, but with the frost armor, of course, that's not all too easy for him. Skeleton keeps chasing the Kodo Beast here, and it looks like that one is going to be falling any second now. He's just trying to force the Death Knight back, to force the Death Knight out of this fight, but I mean, that's not going to be happening. Okay, now tier 3 has finished. Crypt Lord is being added, I'm assuming. Okay, now Happy spending some resources. I was about to say, I'm assuming that one's going to be bringing the orb. Perhaps not though. Okay, turning around to wait at the shop right now. So maybe he's just gonna wait for the orb with that one. 56 supply for Happy, 50 for Grubby. But keep in mind that Grubby wants to be quite a bit ahead in supply at this point. Because look at his army. It's Grunts, Raiders, and I'm guessing a new Kodo soon, which is spawning right now. Getting a second Beastry right now. But this is extremely low-tech army, and therefore he wants to be the one with a bigger army. Compared to the Undead, who's tier 3 right now, who's got these Fiends, which provide utility basically all game long. And an Orb and everything. So 3 heroes for Grubby. The Blade Master is extremely low and he doesn't have any means of healing here. So that's not really the position he wants to find himself in here. Using the last heal salve on the Blade Master, going into Windwalk immediately. Happy, fighting up Choke here, but this is still not exactly looking like a bad position for the Undead. Nevertheless, he's still pulling back here, Stomp hitting the Crypt Lord and the Death Knight, but not really any damage to follow that up, so the Stomp is now over. TC is getting focused once again. Grubby's trying to outrun him here with the Speed Scroll, but once again the second hero of the Dutch Orc player is falling. The Peon here, perhaps he was trying to go for a little bit more of a sneaky expansion at the red spot, but that wasn't happening there. Grubby's still trying to run. Happy slightly building on his supply advantage here, slightly increasing that. But more importantly, now he seems to be ready. Another statue is coming. I'm assuming Destroyer upgrade may have finished already, but the 70 supply Ziggurat is just finishing now. So for the time being, Happy supply block, no destroyers, but I mean, that seems quite alright here. First, Impel does come in, Frost Armor onto the Fiend. Grubby, once again for a second, tried to go for the Death Knight there now. Switching to one of the Fiends. The first Grunt has already fallen. Death Knight has taken a bit of damage here. and snare on the Crypto. The Blade Master doesn't really dare to go into the fight to show himself, but he's got no protective items, so he's not really contributing here. DK is at about 50% of his hit points in the meantime. First Destroyer has now been morphed. Happy is trying to reposition. Grubby is trying to get a good angle against all of those fiends. Finally, he's getting, you know, he's gonna get at least one of them killed. The Death Knight very far in the back. No more retreating space for Happy here, but at the same time, no attack surface whatsoever as well for Grubby, who's getting another kill here. Cryptlord is out of mana. One of the destroyers, well, the one destroyer having mana at the moment. The TC is gonna get killed for the third time here. Grubby is really, look at it, he's got nothing left here basically. Trying to go for the hero kill once again, but immediately Invo Potion used by Happy, not risking anything here, and Grubby calls GG. Happy takes the lead. I think, well, when they fought it out at the time Grubby reached tier 2, when his TC was first joining, things were just going way too smoothly for Happy. And I guess the issue was that, as I said, if Grubby is just going for Beastery and Barracks with just a very large low-tagged army with Grunts, Raiders, and a couple of Kodos perhaps eventually, then that's not really gonna carry him all game long. So he needs this tier 2 expansion at the right time. But he lost his TC once. He had to use the Town Portal with the Blade Master. He lost, I think, 2 Grunts and killed 1 Fiend. So that's not at all a trade he's gonna be able to live with. And Happy was able to creep way too much, immediately after that skirmish happened. So Grubby was never able to get that tier 2 expansion into play. And I guess the issue is that once he committed to Barracks, Beastry, and Warmill, without going to tier 3, without adding a lodge, anything like that, it's really hard to get a tech switch done at that very late stage of the game. So Grubby was in a pretty rough spot already. He tried to just basically, make it happen without an expansion, with just a tier 1 arm, with just a 1 base army. But Happy didn't let him do that. Happy's taking the first map, and he needs one more to make it into the top 4. And second map is going to be Echo Isles.